Welcome back to the beautiful surroundings of Bruges here in Belgium. The sun is shining, the clouds have gone in, there's a small bit of a breeze, and we are here for the 25th edition of Tom's Tourney. It's an absolute pleasure to be with you. My name is Benjamin Rees, and I'm going to be guiding you through this women's game today between Lemongrass and Copenhagen Hucks. We've already had a really busy, action-packed game on the stream. Just had a wonderful, exciting game between Mooncatchers and Ragnarok in the Open Division 1. Before that, we had an absolute thriller, the Battle of Bruges between Jacka and the Italian team. Jacka coming from a 6-0 deficit to steal it 9-8 in sudden death. If all our games like that, we are in for a treat. Copenhagen wearing the rather fashionable blue and black jerseys, starting on defense, going from right to left. Lemongrass in those yellow and green tops, going from left to right. Happy to swing the disc around the back to start with for Lemongrass before they can make some yards just shy of midfield now. Happy to reset that back. Putting that arcing backhand. There's no one there, so it's a pretty comfortable catch for the receiver. Transition to a person look, but it comes too little too late. Keeping that foot up to toe the line at the front of the end zone is the Lemongrass receiver. They're going to start this with a comfortable offensive hold, taking a 1-0 lead here over Copenhagen Hucks. It's a glorious day here as we come towards the end of day 2 at Tom's Tourney. Still got a full day of Ultimate left and a couple more games to come on the stream yet today. So plenty more to come, and this is going to be an absolute cracker as well, you can tell. At the very least, this is easily the best kit matchup we've had so far today. If you're someone like me, that makes a big difference. I'm a bit of a jersey enthusiast. I have way too much Ultimate kit, as I'm pretty sure every Ultimate player does. Lemongrass pulling to Copenhagen Hucks, who are going to start their first offensive point here. Move the disc upfield. Don't like what they see. It's another zone look here. We've had quite a lot of teams play zone today, especially now the wind has picked up a bit. Getting this near side and 3 defenders in close. Coming up to 4. It's like a standard junk cup zone. 2 defenders roaming that mid-range area with 1 lurking deep. Just towards this near sideline. Number 11, so he got it right, trapped on this sideline. Probably looked to get this off soon. Tried to squeeze it through, but the other hand was running through at the same time. It bounces off her thigh and hits the turf. It's an unfortunate miscommunication there for the Danes. Russia will get a chance to break here. Lemongrass immediately shooting deep with an IO flick. Defender goes up, but it can't quite make play. Goes over her head and into the outstretched arms of the very thankful Lemongrass receiver, who I must say did get an excellent read on that. Knew where it was going right from the off. Copenhagen's first point doesn't end how they first offensive point doesn't end how they want. It's a big for Lemongrass, who take a 2-0 lead here over the Danes. Get a second look at that catch. It's a nice read by the defender. Positions herself well, so by the attacker even. It's a nice position well, so the defender has to go up early to make the play, and in the end she just can't quite get it. It sinks after she makes the play into the thankful arms of the receiver. Lemongrass looking ready to call here. Copenhagen Hucks signalling they're ready. Backhand pull goes up. Most teams have tended to use that look today. Lions just shy of the end zone. It's number 20, Meta Nielsen, who's going to pick that up and centre it. Another zone look here from Lemongrass. Copenhagen looking to pop it in that cup towards the sideline and finally swing it off. Break goes. Nice continuation just in front of the defender. Catches the disc on the little pop through. Didn't quite have a hand set though, perhaps wasn't quite expecting it to go when it did. It's an unfortunate drop. Copenhagen have to switch their mindset, get straight back on defense here. Number 5 is going to bring that in on the force. The dump defender comes off to try and clog downfield, but they are able to swing it effectively in a nice swing to the break side. Good pressure. 34 gets it in and toes the sideline. No worries there. Goes for the lefty backhand. Caught down low very well, actually. And shoots for the IO into the end zone. Number 91 with the right hand out in front. Makes the catch for the score, but I think there might be a stoppage here. Possibly a pick in the stack in the end zone. Looks like the disc is going to go back. Have a look at this here. Here's a lovely IO throw. You can't quite see what the infraction was. But we restart, and they're going for that IO again. Different target this time. Same result, towing into the back of the end zone. Another break for the Russians. Lemongrass now taking a 3-0 lead on Copenhagen Hucks. Here we're getting another look at that again. Lovely low release inside out forehand. Personal favourite of mine. And the receiver's got the defender on her back. Plenty of steps. The only question is, can she keep it in bounds? Reaches out. No question about the legality of that. Clearly in the end zone. Lemongrass extending their lead to 3-0. Copenhagen talking through some strategy on the line here, wondering perhaps how they might change up their offense to combat this Lemongrass zone, assuming that they do use it again, which I imagine they will do given its efficacy so far. Lemongrass are ready to pull. Copenhagen are ready to receive. That ball's going to go towards the far sideline. Choosing to let the ball hit the floor rather than field it straight off. And it is that zone look again from Lemongrass, not necessarily a surprise. They do have the player on this near sideline open and they do choose to take it. For a little pop through the cup. Just get towards this side. It's going to ping that forehand down the side, but it just doesn't have enough edge on it. It's going to trail out of bounds and go over our heads here at the commentary table. Lemongrass will pick the disc up here with good field position as well. It's the number 5 share here who will inbounds the disc. Instantly swinging into the centre, giving themselves both sides to work with. Nice continuation there. Number 91 with the disc now looks to get it back. Oh, nearly stealing through with the D, but it's not going to work. However, maybe just the theory of knowing that the defenders are closing in causes the overthrow there. Copenhagen Hucks are going to take the disc from this near sideline. The wind pushing it here. It's a difficult situation to be in. Go for a little pop into the cup, but it's very congested in there and the receiver's not able to make the catch. Lemongrass on the lip of the end zone here. Receiver does come free, but the window to close this before it can get it. And a nice block on the force. It's a lovely play by number 11. She instantly takes off deep, but there's no handler there to pick it up and shoot it. It's a nice block. getting big, making yourself big. We talked a lot in previous games today about making yourself big on the force. As that Huck comes off as well, number 77's got the disc. Moving the disc upfield, following the play up well. Looking for the IO shot low, goes to her knees to make the grab. Is she in the end zone? Yes, she is. It's a score for Copenhagen Hucks, their first of the game. They are on the board. They've closed the deficit, but Lemongrass still have a 3-1 lead here. That was a bit better there from Copenhagen Hucks. They did turn over in their short field, but they were determined next point to not let that happen again, deciding that actually utilising a bit more of the deep end that perhaps we hadn't quite seen. We did have that sidelight, that forehand that went out of bounds. This time angled back in towards the middle of the pitch. Proves effective. Receiver makes the grab. And then the good follow-up play, backing up well here. And we can see there that final scoring pass, that inside-out forehand. Defender sliding onto a receiver even sliding onto her knees to make sure that she can get low, get her hands underneath the disc. Even clap catch. It's a good play by her. Nice first point for Copenhagen. 3-1 they trail. Ball goes up from Copenhagen, but it is going to go out of bounds. You'd imagine here that Lemongrass will take it from the brick mark rather than taking it from this windy sideline. Especially as I think the brick mark's further upfield as well. It seems to me like there's no reason not to brick it, and they absolutely do. Good decision. Don't think anyone's going to question that. It's going to be number 5 to pick up the disc. Swinging it across, utilising that dump swing on that far sideline. 91's got the disc, recycling it into the centre, right at the midfield mark there for number 5. Not worried to lose yards to keep that miss moving. Really tiring out this Copenhagen zone, making them do a lot of running sideline to sideline, tiring them out into opening holes. Number 21 swings it back and then gets it on that inside shot. There's no force, and the backhand goes. The defender tries to get the bid in early and can't do it, and the receiver, number 34, is there to make a fairly rudimental catch in the back of the end zone for the score. And Copenhagen came close a couple of times but couldn't quite get it. Lemongrass reopened their 3-point lead. Lemongrass lead Copenhagen 4-1 now. If I'm Copenhagen, I'm not sure how long I'm going to stay in that zone look. Lemongrass seem to be navigating it pretty effectively. And it seems like there's a lot of sideline to sideline running without seemingly much reward so far. We can say if they stick with it or if they switch to a match-up look. In the meantime, then, they've got to focus on their offense. I see no reason for Lemongrass to change out of that zone despite the last point. It was still pretty effective, and while the Huck did work, and was well completed and well thrown, they still did generate a turnover before that, and they could argue that perhaps it wasn't the highest percentage throw ever, so I don't think they're unhappy with that, although the wind has slightly subsided here now. Lemongrass are going to pull from this near sideline. Hand in the air from Copenhagen. The Hucks are ready to receive. Just going to hit the floor. Copenhagen will get the play going. Trying to work it towards that high wind sideline quickly. Although they've already moved it onto this sideline. Can they get it off before they get trapped? Nice little pop through. Backing up the flick. Shooting into the end zone. There's a receiver wide open. Busting coverage from Lemongrass. Copenhagen make no qualms about capitalising on that. That was ruthlessly efficient. Great offensive point there for Copenhagen. Now if I'm Lemongrass, I might worry about doing that zone. They moved it so quickly that they never really got set. Well executed there by Copenhagen. They trail 4-2. Get a second look at that there. Just playing nice little short passes until the window does open. It's from about thrown from about from the brick mark. The defender never really has a chance at it. It's thrown so early. It's an excellent play from Copenhagen. They're going to send out the D-line and get ready to pull. Neither side here has the largest roster, so you would expect to see some crossover between these two lines for each team. It's a good pull, landing just short of the end zone. Just gets swung into the middle and continue towards the break side. More zone from the Danish team. Oh, just short, very nearly get there. And picked up at the second attempt by number 24. Getting that right hand in there, snatching it from the offender's grasp. But she can't back that up, but the throw is just too low and the receiver sliding to the ground isn't able to make the catch. Looks like an injury called by that player who was sliding to the ground. Maybe knocked the wind out of herself, maybe pulled something on the way to the ground. Copenhagen have substituted. It doesn't look like Lemongrass have. Happy to keep the same 7 out there. Don't think there was any stall when the injury happened, so this is coming on 0. Flick force now from the mark. Nice inside break, looking to easily continue. It's a good job by the mark to get round there. They can't do it the next time, just short of making the play. Little pops hammer over the top and it just about squeezes through. Oh. Lemongrass jamming in the jam hole there. Not a lot of room to work with. But sometimes, in the end, when you're in the end zone, the windows are so small, you have to just somehow find any way you can to cram it in there. And they did that effectively there, that little hammer over the top. That's that first D that when Copenhagen got the disc back. Outstretched right arm of the defender, stealing it away. But there's that little hammer. Good job by the force jumping up. Nearly got there. Number 28 boxed it out well, actually. Really nice position. Get the disc before either defender gets there. Lemongrass extend their lead to 5-2 on that slightly audacious and daring little hammer there. Good work by Lemongrass. Copenhagen talking through some strategy. Bit of rotation in the lines. Lemongrass ready to pull. Some final little adjustments being made by both teams. So ready to get this point going again. It's another good pull actually. Pulling's been very solid so far this game from both teams generally. With the disc upfield, trying not to let that Lemongrass defense set, but they have begun to set now. It looks like a person look this time. Choosing to go one-on-one rather than stick with his own after it got shredded last time. Nice use of recycling, getting the disc to 3 players. This Russian sideline getting loud. Nice little up line pass. It's either going to Anise to try and reel it in, but just doesn't quite make it. Lemongrass with a chance to another break and extend their lead to 4. Going with the swing. Nice backhand to the lefty backhand to that undercut there. And the continuation is not there though. The throw is just turfed. But maybe the receiver was not as fast as the handler thought. Maybe he just didn't quite execute properly. Either way, Copenhagen are going to have a second shot at this one. The Hucks start with this on that far sideline, coming out of a horizontal set, working those diamond-style peppermill cuts from that sideline. Visionary throw goes beyond the defender, and the receiver just can't quite get there. Never was able to really get her feet out from under her. Wasn't able to have a full layout bit at that, despite sliding to her knees. But Lemongrass give the disc back immediately. Number 4 slowly marching towards the disc to pick up here for Copenhagen. Shooting that blade deep. Good pressure though from the lemongrass defender, number 66. All over that one. Never gave the receiver a chance. Just a quick little look at that hammer from last point. Nice backhand around break. The 13 fakes the uphill, takes the high release just beyond the defender. But it looks like maybe the wind caught it as the receiver was ready to catch it. Maybe not quite where she thought it was. Bounces harmlessly off her hands into the floor. Nothing coming downfield, trying to squeeze it into a tight window, but two defenders there. I'd like to see the throw perhaps isolate their dump a bit earlier, try and get a one-on-one situation. Number 8's going to bring the disc here in on the sideline for lemongrass. And immediately rifle it deep. That backhand's coming back in towards the receiver. It's just too far. It was a very good option, but just not quite enough sit on it. This is a shame because it was a really stylish looking throw as well. Big, relatively high release backhand around the mark. It's a shame that couldn't come off. Nice inside look there. Number 24 has the disc. Swinging the disc into the centre. The defender's gone down here. Number 61 does make the catch anyway, just in case. She's going to have to come off with an injury here, unfortunately. It doesn't seem so bad, maybe just slightly banged up. The play will stand, however. They can keep the disc here. She looked for the offload, but I think the handler has stopped thinking it wasn't coming. It's another little miscommunication for Copenhagen Hucks. The break again is going to pick up on this sideline. This time it's the forehand deep. With a drop in time, it will do. But it's well read by the Copenhagen defender in the end. I got under it and wasn't able to let the lemongrass receiver have a chance at it in the end. Copenhagen walking the disc to the front line. This point's gone on for a few minutes now, becoming a battle of attrition almost. Nothing opening up for Copenhagen, and did the disc just fall out of her hands? Was there a little bump on the mark? Is the disc not loose? I couldn't quite see what happened from this distance. Gonna have a little discussion about exactly what went down. You can see this on the replay here. Yeah, you can see there the lemongrass defender just reaching in with that left hand. Don't know how much contact she got on it. Another lemongrass player coming in to help mediate the discussion there, help with any possible language issues. It's one of the things you do get at these European and international tournaments. We do have teams from different countries play. Sometimes it is difficult to come to agreements and things when you don't have common languages. He's going to stay with Copenhagen though, and looks like she's signaling that it's going to come back in on 0 as well, so an uncontested foul strip in the end. Nice backhand fake, makes the mark sag off. Gets a short little up line throw. Nice dish off to the other handler. Looking for the IO break, it's going to sail slightly. Gleefully picked off by the defender, number 91. Continued with a backhand into the goal for number 8. Had a couple of nice puts that point which hadn't quite come off. This time doing it on the other end, catching the goal. Extending the lemongrass lead to 6-2 here to the Russians. It's a beautiful day here in Bruges. I've said this a few times, but I cannot stress enough how lucky we are to be here and to be doing this. And hello to everyone watching the stream, wherever you may be around the world. It's lovely to have you with us here from the beautiful surroundings of Bruges. It's an absolute delight to be bringing you such high quality ultimate from such a legendary tournament as Tom's Tourney. The 25th anniversary this year as well. Such a huge achievement for any tournament to keep going, even a few years. 25 is just a huge testament to everyone who puts all the work in on this festival now, in the past and in the future as well. We're back on the pitch, nice little IO flick. Caught with the left hand by the receiver. Working the disc upfield. Huge gainer, look for the lefty dish off the line. They're going to shoot deep, but that's going to start to go back on the receiver. Nice box. Oh, she got two hands on it. Was it knocked out? Was there a bit of contact on that? There is a foul called. Both were in very close proximity there. There was definitely a bit of contact. As for when and when it happened, how it affected it, I don't know. Can't quite tell from here. We're going to let the players talk it out. Bit of discussion. It looks like they're going to send it back. Result's going to be a contested foul or a contested strip here. Everyone resetting back into position. Nice swing back to number 11, looking for a continuation around, but there isn't one there. So choosing to use that dump. Trying to thread it through, or just out of the hands of the receiver. It's unfortunate, it was a nice throw, nice idea. See, we did have steps on the break side, but just slightly over her outstretched hands. And another drop there from Lemongrass. Copenhagen wasting no time, striking deep immediately. The receiver was there and was free. The throw just slightly overthrown. I like the idea when Lemongrass aren't really set to try and keep the disc moving quickly. But the throw just can't quite be reeled in by the receiver. Oh, nice grab at the second attempt there by the Lemongrass player. Potentially a call, but in the end, looks like they're waving off, nothing happened. Maybe a discussion about whether it was down. It looked from here like the receiver had it. We'd have to get a second closer look at it. Here we are. It looks to me like she does get hands on it, but maybe she loses it when the disc goes under her body. I think this play is going to stand though in the end. The Copenhagen player checks the disc in. Nice dump cut as well, shaking the defender out their boots. A bit of hand movement there, trying to generate before they can generate some movement downfield. Hannah doesn't seem happy at what she sees. It's going to send that break into space, well caught by the receiver, number 71, attacking that with two hands. Beginning to cluster down there. 28 makes the catch, immediately rifles it deep. It's going to sit, there's going to be a bit of pressure under it. The receiver makes the grab. Defender goes up a bit too early, tries to steal in before the receiver can get a chance. Doesn't prove to be effective in the end. It's a good read, trusting what she saw, not getting baited into going in slightly early. Lemongrass extend their lead here to 7 points to 2. Getting a second look at it there. Nice read by the lemongrass receiver. 5 points is quite a large margin with only 20 minutes left. But having said that, it feels like we've seen this story a bit before. Last women's game we did, Yaka was 6-0 down before coming back to win 9-8. So it's clearly not over yet. Lemongrass ready to pull. Copenhagen Hucks happy to receive. Choosing to let the disc hit the floor before moving it on. Don't want to risk dropping the pull. His son towards this near sideline. Chooses not to throw the up the line cut the first time of asking. Does it the second attempt with the defender shielded off. That backhand is that forehand even is going to blade, but it is well caught by number 11. She's had a very good game today so far. Been instrumental for Copenhagen offense and defense. Number 24's got the disc now. She's played well as well. Nice around break. Oh, it just goes behind the receiver. Perhaps the wrong angle of cut there. And a lot of pressure and a big bid. Does get the D. Don't know what the discussion is about the level of contact there. It seems like there was a lot of bumping before the disc got, but I don't know if one player had position there over the other. It's difficult to tell from this angle. Talking through it, it looks like they're going to send it back. Lemongrass will keep possession of it, albeit with the thrower. Here we are again. It's close, it's really difficult to tell. In the end, if they're happy to contest it, that'll be the right result. Swing it around into space. Enough feather on that to leave it, let the receiver run onto it. Two hands outstretched, making that catch above her head. Again, nice swing to the break side. Lemongrass has been very good at breaking the force and rifling it deep there. Number 8's got a huge cannon of arm, and that is a beautiful buttery biscuit backhand for the goal. That is wonderful. It came out of her hand like a rocket, and then it just sat so nicely in the end zone for the goal. That is one hell of a throw there from the lemongrass handler. Good catch as well by the receiver, but it's made relatively easy by a hell of a throw. Absolutely launches it out of her hand, and then it just goes to the end zone, and it just sits there so nicely, and just drops into the receiver's hands. That is an absolute peach of a throw. Lemongrass extend their leads to 8-2.
No.
I cannot get over how lovely that is, just to come out with such velocity, but soften up so nicely at the end. That is a very confident and accomplished throw. Lemongrass getting ready to pull again. No run up this time, but it just makes its way roughly to the brick mark. Slightly onto our side of the field. Number 20, Meta Nielsen's going to pick that up. Swing it towards the break side, and a nice continuation there. Receiver begins to go deep. Instead, they take the receiver going under on the respective cut. Cycle out again towards that far sideline. The throw is there for the up line. That's a nice cut by Nielsen. Fakes the inside, chooses not to take it, and instead to reset out to space for the dump. Need to continue that around to the break side, and they do with the inside out forehand. So this near sideline now, there's a shot available there. Force is quite flat though, so they're not able to jam that inside out through. So going to go for that low release, around backhand break. Wow, some of these girls are putting on an absolute throwing clinic here. Incredible, getting all the way down and around. It's a really good force by the mark, but that throw is released so low, almost cutting the grass on its way through, although obviously not actually cutting the grass, because that would be a turn. But it's so nicely done, just below the mark's outstretched hand. Really well executed. Here we are, we're going to get a second look at this. Gets so low, that's released just under the hand. Might have even got a piece of it, but there's so much rotation on it that it doesn't matter. Excellent torque coming out of the wrist. And a nice catch for the goal. Copenhagen closed the gap slightly. It's 8-3 now to Lemongrass. With Copenhagen, Hucks pull goes halfway between the brick mark and the end zone. Lemongrass wasted no time about moving that forward. Interesting zone look here from Copenhagen, looking like roughly like a 2-3-2. 2 up front, 3 in the middle, and then a kind of a short and a slightly deeper deep there. Lemongrass with the dicks just beyond midfield. Swing it around comfortably. Ooh, that throws perhaps a bit further than they wanted, but it was able to be caught. He's now on this sideline, trying to siphon things back into the middle. In the end, there's no option there and just have to take the reset. Incredible flat forehand at the back there. Going to pop it off, looking to frustrate here the Lemongrass players. Just trying to make them make more throws than they want to. Oh, great D by number 24. Reading the play really well. Coming through, disrupting it, getting the block there. Defense is all about disruption. Can you take away what they want to do and make them do what you want to do? A nice huck by Copenhagen, but it's just beyond the receiver. So when she looked around it, she was just got too far under it. Couldn't quite locate it, which is a shame. It was a nice idea. That backhand's going to go into space for the Lemongrass player, and nice continuation. Good job adjusting down by the downfield Copenhagen defenders, not let continuation go. Oh, a lovely feathery outside in flick over the defenders. It's like a transition to a person defense there. Lemongrass looked to take the swing and then hit that dump swing set into the end zone for the score. Well executed. That's a great way to play the transition. Noticing that they've switched from that zone into the matchup defense, and noticing that actually now's the time when we practice and we do this break swing this break slide dump and swing that we've drilled. And they ran it absolutely flawlessly there, extending their lead to 9-3. Copenhagen Hucks making decisions about how they're going to set up for this next point. Lemongrass already ready to go. Hand in the air. They don't want to hang around, they want to keep playing. And the pull goes up. Copenhagen again choosing to just hit the ground rather than catch it straight off. Nice undercut there by number 55. She's been very efficient getting the disc on, getting free and getting the disc on those in cuts today. Nice little lefty dished backhand. 24 is going to rifle this deep. It's going to blade. It's going to be just too far for the receiver. Yeah, with the number 11 shirt. It's not a bad look. Came very close to coming off, but just not quite there this time, unfortunately, for Copenhagen. Looks like there's a call there, but I can't quite see what's going on. Lemongrass player coming on from the sideline to help mediate the discussion here. There was no one near her when she made the catch, so when she tried to make the catch, so I'm not quite sure what the call is. The only thing I can think of is maybe when she picked up the disc, she then set a pivot foot before trying to walk it forward again. That would perhaps be my guess about what's happened here, and I think that's what the Copenhagen player seems to be illustrating that's happened. Picks it up and then set a pivot foot before trying to walk it forward. Which you can't do. When you pick it up, you have to either set a pivot foot or immediately come to the line. Well, she does it like she takes one step forward and then begins to set a pivot. In the end, they're saying that she hasn't. She's going to take it to the front of the end zone. That's the result they're both happy with. It's the right result. Nice throw to the break side as well. Trying to get that throw inside. It's stuffed at the point of attack. No one home for that one. Dumps towards number 24 on that far sideline. Looking to reset it. Stalkout beginning to rise. Gets the inside out into space. It's a nice catch actually by the receiver. The wind begins to pick up. Again, number 55 is free on that little undercut. Dumpset's getting a bit messy. Nice, again, nice use of the lefty backhand and then flipped into the end zone for the goal. 24 and 55 running a nice little bit of handler movement there. Trusting each other implicitly, knowing what they're going to be, knowing what the movement pattern is. Running it effectively, and Copenhagen close the gap now to 9. Time beginning to wind down here on this women's game into the final 10 minutes now. But as we've seen so far from the women's division today, there's always time for a little sting in the tail. This game ain't over till it's over, to use a overused cliche. There's plenty of time left in this one yet. All it takes is a couple of quick turnovers and scores, and all of a sudden the whole landscape is very, very different. Nice ball from Copenhagen Hucks there. Lemongrass trying to move it up quickly though. It's another zone here from Copenhagen Hucks. Again, looking a bit like that similar to that 2-3-2 we saw earlier. Lemongrass seemed pretty happy just to play around it at the moment. Oh, lovely backhand into space. Lovely visionary throw there, really intuitive in the way to hit the space. Possibly a block on the arc, but it looks like she's called a foul. I think the argument being that perhaps the mark was not stationary when she made contact there.
I gotta go.
I think perhaps I might be inclined to agree, but I need to have another look at it. Here we are. Well, it looks like there probably is some movement there from number 55, but it's so tight you can't really tell. We'll let the players talk it out and come to a decision. They've come to a result of a contested foul. See the hand signals there. One hand across the other, signalling the foul. Two fists put together, signaling that it's contested. Lemongrass only looking for the reset here. Nice inside out backhand downfield. Just got right on that far break side, and they go for another inside out backhand into a narrow window down the line. 55 does an excellent job of stopping that. Swings it back in towards the centre. Throw perhaps goes over the first receiver, but it's well backed up by 24. She's going to immediately rifle it deep. It's well tracked down, not in the end zone. That one is, though. Copenhagen Hucks get a break on the board to reduce the gap to 9-5. Deciding that they'd had enough of playing some small ball. Going to play a bit more of an expansive style there, and it proves to pay dividends, narrowing the gap to just 4 points, 9-5. If the Hucks had to have any chance of getting back into this game, that is an absolutely crucial point. The odds are still firmly stacked against them, but they're a lot better now than they were about 5 minutes ago. But they can't afford to waste any time with these pools. Need to get the disc moving quickly if they want to come back to win this. Lemongrass don't look like they're in any rush to pull. I mean, to receive the pull. Copenhagen Hucks don't look like they're in any rush to make the pull either, which I would find unusual. Maybe they know that perhaps it's just a bridge too far. They're just trying to take what they can from this game and building it for the future. Pull's going to go up here from Copenhagen. It's going to go towards the sideline. It might drift back in bounds, but it will not. It will tail out of bounds. Lemongrass signalling that they want to brick the pull, which is probably a wise decision here. It might have gone out slightly before the brick mark, but especially this being the wind trap sideline. The downwind sideline, you definitely want to get it in the middle if you can. Disc centered on the brick mark. Really going to reset it. Oh, nice post block there as well by Copenhagen. Wasn't actually the defender's markers being thrown to, but she saw that she could come in there and disrupt it, get a shot in before the offender could. Copenhagen instantly looking for the reset off the pickup. Nice IO break, but maybe I think the receiver was just looking upfield at the next pass before she fully had it clasped in her hands. Lemongrass going to take this available swing here. And put it deep. That's going to tail out of bounds, though. The wind just seemed to get a hold of that about 3/4 of the way down and decided that it was going to have none of it. Just let it tail off out of bounds in the end. It looked promising when it was released, but it did not come to anything in the end. Copenhagen are going to bring this disc in from their front end zone cone. Another silence for Copenhagen. They're not, for Lemongrass, they're not waiting for Copenhagen. And Copenhagen are not waiting for Lemongrass to get ready either. They're going to immediately punt it deep, but it doesn't come off. It's downed harmlessly in enemy territory. Good low grab there, number 71. Recycling it back into the middle. Number 8's got it. We know she likes to put deep. She's done that quite effectively already so far this game. In the end, decides against it, just dumps back, takes the easy option. Copenhagen looking at this kind of hybrid zone here, which they have got turns with so far at this point. But now they kind of work through it, and they've got some 2-on-1s isolated. Big bit on the mark to try and stop the throw. Maybe she put just enough pressure on there. Distract and disrupt the cutter. Receiver, or perhaps the handler even, knowing that the force was willing to lay out and bid for those, maybe just rush the throw in case they were able to get up and get a block on it. In any case, it just floats harmlessly over the receiver. Copenhagen can start working now. As the sounds go to indicate this is going to be the last point of the game. 9-5, it's not possible to come back from here. Number 24's got the disc on that far sideline. Thinks about a blade over the top. He's going to take it, reeled in with one hand. Got this cutter free underneath. Looking for the continuation. Just find it. Oh, just about steals him with the D, number 5. She made up a lot of ground to get there. I think maybe the Copenhagen player didn't realise quite how close the defender was. Made it a bit too long for the diff to come, and the defender was able to pick a pocket there. That throw to the break side is going to sit. It's going to be caught inbound. Nice toe in there by the receiver. Excellent job if it is indeed in. There's some discussion about whether or not she was able to make it. Can't quite see from this vantage point exactly where the sideline is on that far side. I think in the end they're deciding that it's in. And play's going to restart with a check. Swinging the disc off this time. Oh, nice bit by number 11. Wasn't her person, but did come in to try and steal through there. Just a simple drop that time, unfortunately, from Lemongrass. Went for it with 2 hands, but just seemed to bounce in and out. Ricocheted out of her grasp. Number 24 is going to pick it up here for Copenhagen. Hucks player fakes that bigger round backhand. Takes it at the second, maybe third time of asking. They've got the continuation here, and number 11 is going to burn up line. Excellent use of give-go. Catching with the left hand as it just begins to drop. Trying to jam it into the end zone. Tight window. Receiver can't make the grab, but there's going to be a call here. Maybe saying there's a bit of contact on that catch. Good discussion about exactly what each player thinks happened. It's always difficult in these situations where obviously you trust your point of view, but you also don't want to disrespect your opponent. We'll see what resolution they come to. In the end, they're going to contest it and send it back, it seems. In tight situations like that often seems the fairest result, where you're not quite sure either way what happened. Just send it back and give it another go. Just checked in by Lemongrass. Trying to squeeze it in up the line, but the throw is overthrown, and Lemongrass were there to make sure that there was no one else coming through anyway. But in the end, it does just fall slightly sadly to the turf. Lemongrass bringing it on that front end zone line. It's a short IO window there, but it closes quite quickly. That throws just behind the cutter, that handler even running through. Can take the inside out shot, the forehand for the goal. That will be the end of the game, though, for Copenhagen, unfortunately. Time running out on them. The final score here is going to be 9-6 to Lemongrass. Players having a discussion about whether it is the end of the game, but I do believe that it should be at this point. Yeah, we're getting a replay of that into that forehand there. The time has elapsed, and that is the last point. Players from both teams slapping hands. A nice back and forth game here. In the end, Lemongrass prevail 9-6 winners over Copenhagen Hucks. Coming up next on the stream, we've got an open Division 1 quarter-final between Kuzplafotta and Chak. Don't go anywhere.